Hi everybody, Lydia here in the USG Sheetrock brand studio, and we're gonna have a little talk about corner bead today. Is there one brand to rule them all, one material that's the best? I would say no. And I think that's something that people come to the idea of is they've had a bad experience maybe with one product and they write it off. Or all the corner bead products should all be the same and they only stick with one kind or one material. So I'm going to walk you through all the different materials here because there actually are quite a lot. They're all very different from each other, and then I'm going to explain when and where I would use these in a situation. So we'll start first with our Clark-Dietrich metal corner bead. Metal corner bead is the oldest, of course. It's easy to install. You can install with a crimper, you can do a clinch on, you can do staples, you can do screws. It's pretty versatile with your install. We tend to do a staple gun, and we do 1 1/4 inch staples through this product. Really good stuff about metal is that you can manipulate it. So if you have things that absolutely have to match up, because sometimes when we get on these houses, you have 4 windows that are coming together and the framing's not quite right. So that's really where metal can really come into play, because you can manipulate it, you can bend it, you can get it to line up, and you can get it to tack down where normally a paper product or a paper face product will not sit. Metal corner bead is one of the less expensive options on the market. It is pretty flexible. You do have to be careful when you're handling it. It will cut your fingers. I have had many cuts with this, pulling it out of the box and just having it rip up my fingertips. You do need to use, metal snips or tin snips with these to cut them. You do also need to wear safety glasses. When you are installing these, you can have metal shards kind of come up and get you in the eye. It's happened to many people, so make sure you're using this safely. It's great around fireplaces. There's been a lot of times where we've actually cut this down and made it fit into certain places. I mean, obviously it's metal, so it's safe around a fireplace, anything with heat. It will rust though. That is one thing to think about. If you're putting this in wet areas or areas that are gonna have a lot of humidity, probably not gonna be the best choice. So, when we're looking at a job and we're walking through, we will choose our corner bead products depending on what's going on with the job. So like I said, with a fireplace, anything that's really wonky with framing, we might go with metal compared to one of the other options. It does dent really easily. That's another bad thing about it. It's pretty soft, it's pretty twisty, but that's what makes it very manipulative. Moving on, we have no-coat paper face bead. So this is no-coat bead. This is a paper-faced product. It's pretty flexible, so you gotta think it's really close to like the 325, 425. It's really fast to install, so we can get a lot of this corner bead up very quickly. It's just mud, so you can just run it through a bead hopper or whatever it is that you're using. You can put mud on by hand and then throw this up. Some great things about it is it takes a lot less mud because it does not have a flange. So compared to this metal bead here, you have to fill all of that to make it even. When we're looking at the no-coat or a lot of the paper face products, they don't have that bead there on their nose. So technically you can just coat here. We tend to go all the way up to the nose and then sand it sharp. So they take a lot less mud. They're really fast to install. One thing that can happen with these and will happen with these is they can crack. So if you hit them really hard or you're not cutting them with really sharp snips or you're kind of just bending them, they can crack and split straight at the center. Trim guys kicking their trim on really hard will crack these beads. Sometimes you just get them out of the box and they're already cracked too. So that is one bad thing about these. They also follow framing. So if you have wonky framing, this will be following it. You can try and pull it off or kind of lift it off the wall to make it straight, but then because it is a tape-on product, you're losing some of that adhesion by pulling it away from the drywall board. So again, this is one of our primary beads, but it all depends on the job. If it's something that we need to get done quickly and it's gonna get a texture, great product to go with, and it has straight framing, we're gonna go with this. Bad framing, anything really weird, we're probably gonna be going with a different product just because this isn't suited for it. Now, we have Clark-Dietrich Big Stick here, and this is a completely composite product. So One thing I forgot to mention is with these paper face ones, you can actually scuff up the paper. Like if it gets dinged, it'll actually scuff the paper. You can over sand it and rough up the paper face. So they're a little bit more of a delicate product when it comes to taking care of them after the install. With the Clark Dietrich, this big stick, it's completely composite. Like you cannot over sand this, you can't get any paper off of this because it's a full composite stick through and through. So, you know, high traffic areas where you're gonna be having a lot of people walk through, this is a good choice. Commercial buildings, hallways, anything where you need to have that strength and you also wanna have that not get dented. This guy is reinforced in the center here to make sure it stays straight and it stays rigid. And then it also has a little notch right here, so it'll fit nice and tight up against your ceilings. And then it also has foot and inch markings and then guidelines. Really fast to install. Again, this is a tape on, it has a flocking on the inside. So you just run this guy through your hopper up on the wall. This, I believe, is the most expensive product on this table, but you're paying for a premium because of the features of this bead. So you can't over sand this. I've done some impact tests with this at home. It takes an impact very well. I believe it's rated the best with the impact testing with the corner beads. So keep that in mind when you're picking and choosing, you know, maybe being a little bit more expensive, it just goes more in high traffic areas. Really, really quick to install though with the hoppers. Again, just a mud-on product. Now, the most popular product with all of you, which was interesting, I did a poll the other day to ask people what their favorite was, and it is paper-faced metal. So this is from Clark Dietrich. This is their paper-faced metal. So literally you have metal with a paper face on it. So it's like a hybrid between, you know, like the no-coat with the traditional metal here. So we have the strength and the straightness of the metal, and then we have the ease of install with the paper. Great product. It's really easy to install. It holds up well, but again, we do have that paper face, so think about that when you are using this product. You can rip that paper up and fuzz it, over sand it, and if it gets hit or damaged, it also will peel that paper up and also dent the metal. It really is a nice product to work with, though. I've used a lot of paper face metal. Goes on straight, stays straight, and then you're not using as much mud to fill because it is a paper face compared to just the straight up metal. So you are having some time saving with the install and then also with the mud used to fill. And then these guys also have the little inch markings on here. Again, be careful. I mean, this stuff will cut you too because the metal in there. Then we have vinyls. There's a couple different versions of vinyls depending on which one you're buying. This one is a mud install vinyl, so you can tell it's a little bit different here. It's pretty flexible. Obviously, we don't want to be putting vinyl in places where, like around a fireplace, something like that. It's you know, that's where a metal corner bead would go. Vinyl is great for wet areas because you got to think it's vinyl, it's plastic. So it's great for like around showers, tubs, surrounds, and it's pretty fast to install. This one is you just put it on with mud, squish it down, and then the mud actually keys into the little teeth back here, and then will come out the holes and then you wipe it flat. Vinyl is really versatile. You can do a lot with it. Trimtex makes a lot of styles and profiles, and you know, install wise, it's pretty fast. You can run this through a hopper, or you can just go ahead and put your mud on the wall and squish it into there. Vinyl bounces back pretty good. Some of the downfalls with vinyl is the mud does not stick as well to vinyl as it does to these other products. So say you have vinyl in the hallway, it gets hit. What's more than likely going to happen is the mud is actually going to pop off of the vinyl instead of the vinyl being damaged itself. So that's a little bit different of a repair, but it can be a lot easier because you're just patching in mud compared to making a new corner or cutting pieces out and then reinstalling them. Another vinyl option is a glue and spray. So this needs to be installed with glue and then you staple over the top. Vinyl is nice because you can keep it pretty straight for the most part. It's manipulative like the metal back here is too, so you can do a lot with it. Comes in a bunch of different profiles, and you know, you can kind of do what you want with it. And then there's the Trimtex fast edge paper. So this is really comparable to the no coat here. They're both paper faced. This guy has ridges inside, so it has their mud lock technology. And same thing with the install here. You can run it through a hopper, put it on your mud on by hand, and then stick this up. Again, paper face will do the same stuff. You can definitely damage this. It's paper essentially on the front. So keep that in mind when you're working with these products. You know, probably my favorite out of all of these to work with and to install and to coat would probably be the Clark Dietrich, the big stick, just because it's so, like, it's just so easy to work with. You really, like, you can't rough it up, you can't damage the paper, other trades can abuse it, and it's just gonna do a lot better. You know, metal here and there when we need to, and you know, there's nothing wrong with having a variety of corner beads in your project. Not everything is gonna fit, you know, the scope of work that you're doing. Metal might work out great someplace, and then vinyl in the shower, and then paper face on another part. So don't be afraid to kind of experiment with these guys, try them out, see what works best for you, be flexible. Just make sure you're matching up. If you're doing square, go with square. If you're doing bullnose, go with bullnose. All of these products all come in either square or bullnose options. So keep that in mind when you give them a try. And that is it for me this week. Check me out on all the socials. I'm on everything under Drywall Shorty, and I will catch you guys next week.